Thanks for watching.
What we're going to be doing today is recording us doing a little bit of honey harvest. We didn't have a huge one this year. I think like maybe 16 frames total out of our hives, but we did get ourselves a fancy new honey extractor, expecting more honey to come in future years. Oh no, one of our big things for today is we were really curious. This was what's left of the last of our honey harvest from last year, and you can see how dark it is. We're very curious to see if this honey harvest is going to be the same.
So we've got a cheapo bucket with a honey gate on it, and we're gonna get a nicer sieve on the bucket, right?
Yeah, this is a double, what do they call it? A double strainer. So goes from fine to ultra fine. I don't know how you actually determine that, but that's what I'm calling it.
Super fine.
Super fine.
Everything in frame.
And some lessons from last year were to get better tools.
The buckets are just your regular whatever buckets, but we did get one of these capping things, which technically you can harvest your honey with just this alone. But last year we found this really helps to get, because you can line up the frames in a way that...
Well, you can set the frame on it and then cut it with some support on here. Now this isn't exactly very stable. It's gonna have to be.
I mean, the table's already uneven to begin with. It's just always been that way.
Yeah.
The table is older than us.
Uh-oh.
What? What? What is that hair thing?
Is that moths? Uh-oh.
Oh no, something got into it.
Possibly.
Look, there's an actual animal in it.
It's
Look.
the moth. Yeah, it's the moth.
Oh man. When we harvested this honey, or these frames, we put them immediately in the box and have had it sealed inside this room for ages. But clearly there were wax moth eggs in the frames themselves, which hatched and then proceeded to die inside the box. But every frame is infested.
Has some remnants of wax moth on it. So
that's half our honey harvest gone.
that's more than half. Those are the big frames. So
what we'll do with that honey is just
give it back to the bees.
exactly.
So there's I guess that's a good thing to know for future. When you pull, you want to be planning to harvest or like extract probably within a week or two.
Yeah.
Otherwise that'll happen again.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because that came from Green Hive, which sucks. What?
When you use the tool right, it's actually pretty awesome. Last year we borrowed all these tools and had no clue how to use them. Made a giant mess of everything.
Mm-hmm. This year it's coming off a lot easier actually with the correct tool and actually watching a few extra videos on how to do it. I will say something too. If you guys ever get a stainless steel honey extractor brand new, it is a pain in the butt to clean. I don't know what kind of residue sits on that thing when it's in the shop or everything else, but it took us
like 3 or 4 washes to get it.
Finally get the residue to stop coming out on it. I mean, it was nasty residue too. So.
It could also be because we bought a cheap model. Also.
Affordable model. Doing pretty good, Mama. Oh, but you're also cutting into the wood.
Am I really?
It's okay. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's kind of weird though. Why did they put the serration on that side? Nice. It's going much quicker.
True. Okay. over a hot knife would be nice.
Well, remember the last time with the hot knife, we cut it off and it left a layer of wax that just sealed it back up. That was why I didn't like the hot knife.
That's for $16 compared to the $80 hot knives.
Exactly, yeah.
Considering that we spent all the money on the
Extractor over
extractor, we went cheap on the knife. I kind of feel like now that we know what we're doing, we got the proper setup and everything, that if we did get the electric knife, it would actually behoove us and work better.
Yeah, you can always get it next year.
Yeah.
We'll have more money then. Don't get into beekeeping unless you have some disposable income.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll probably be a little upset with yourself. Yes.
It is not a cheap hobby. Looks like this part out.
Yep. Now we'll see what happens, but I also was watching videos about these types of radial extractors. And they say that you might have to take these out and flip them, even though it's supposed to spin and get everything. It sometimes doesn't do that very effectively. So, okay. Well, now we get to test out our spinner for the first time ever.
Babe, nobody can hear you when you have your back to them.
Now we get to test out our spinner for this turn. Whatever. I give up. Let's see, how does this work? This goes on, that gets turned on, and starts slow. That seems pretty stable.
You can smell the honey.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, it smells delightful.
Nice and empty. I don't know if Fanny's been taking the close-ups, but I'll come up to you guys real quick and show you. So after the spin out, that's all that remains. A whole lot of comb. That's about it. Some cells that we missed, but the bees can have that. Well, this thing worked great. Despite not having nearly as much honey that we thought we were going to have. Unlike the purchase.
Okay, so we've got our honey going, draining into the bucket that we have down here.
Storage bucket, yeah.
We'll take that inside the house later and put it into bottles. A couple things that we learned. This piece of equipment is a lifesaver. I don't remember what it's called, but it's not terribly expensive.
Made life so much easier for uncapping.
Yes. I know a lot of people will like get a wood dowel and run that across, but the nice thing about this is it's plastic and we can throw it in the washing machine after we're done. Not washing machine.
Dishwasher.
Dishwasher. I think we will probably upgrade our knife in the near future, but considering the cost of it, you can't go wrong with it. And this thing, when used properly,
works pretty darn good.
we were using it kind of like to scratch everything, and it just made a horrible mess and got cappings everywhere. Last year, when we were learning how to do this, we used cheesecloth, and it was a real nightmare to keep it over the bucket. It made it easy though for draining leftover honey out, but honestly, the double strainer, mint. And another lesson that we learned, very, very valuable lesson we learned is, as soon as you take your frames off the hive, harvest them, because we noticed, well, the first batch we took off a month ago is infested with moth larva eggs.
Yeah, so we have to give that back to the bees.
Which we're still gonna utilize it, but it's gonna be bee food. It's not gonna be anything that we can eat. So thanks for watching.
Thanks everyone.